Okay, guys, so it's obviously a tougher time to be a Chelsea fan than it's been in a little bit, right? You got the sack rumors about Rosignor. You got everybody saying Blueco out, which I understand. Clarifying that, I understand that. But it's just one of those weeks where, if I'm being quite honest, which even though I know I'm a small creator, I'm still a creator. I was even having a week where I'm like, I'd rather just not look up anything about Chelsea this week. I'd rather not listen to the people I normally listen to. I'd rather not look at Instagram posts. I'd rather not look at any kind of articles about stuff because I know it's all going to be exceptionally negative, right? But I wanted to do a little bit of a reality check in two ways. Before we get into the match preview for this game against Everton, which we will do shortly, because there are still a bunch of games to play for. There's a bunch of things to play for, right? There's qualification for the UCL. There's also an FA Cup trophy, which we haven't won in nearly a decade. So there's still a lot of positive that can come from this year. But I want to just do a little reality check for where we're at right now in the Premier League, really, because I'm aware that it's easy for us to just kind of be in our own fishbowl and just look at the absolute travesty, which was the game against PSG, right? And have that kind of not do the opposite of rose tinting our glasses. So I'm going to throw up a screen clipping for you just of the table. And I want us to look at this, right? So we're currently sitting in sixth, which is obviously nowhere near where we want to be. I'm not saying it is. We want to be at the bare minimum in the top four. And really, we want to be competing and winning titles, but we're not there right now. What I want to look at is a few things. First off, our form is terrible. We have 1 win in 5, which is really, really bad. 1 win out of 5 for Chelsea's really unfortunate. If you remember, when Rosignor started, we had some games of 5 and more without any defeat. I think his first 8 games, I think, were without defeat in the Premier League, something like that. And we have 2 defeats in the last 5, 2 draws, which is clearly not nearly good enough. And then what I want to look at, which this is the thing that does affect the game actually this Saturday as well, is only 2 spots below us sits Everton, and they're 5 points behind us. And this was kind of a shocking revelation for me, right? Because you think about Chelsea and you think about all the big name players they have, the big money we've spent, just what a household name we are in the Premier League. And we have this was just shocking for me to see. You can see it on the clipping. We have 13 wins on this season. Everton have 12. We have 13 wins on the season. Everton has 12. So we're not at this point where it's just a small sample size of the season, right? We're nearing the end of the season, and we're at the point where we're only 1 game separated from Everton on wins. And that's not good. Everton's a great club, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I'm not making any kind of shade on them. I'm saying for a club that's spent £1 billion, we have 13 wins out of 30 games. It's just not good enough. It's not, and all of you guys know this. I'm probably beating a dead horse, but I'm just saying first off, because I'm clarifying to you that I'm not always this hopeless optimist. It's not nearly good enough. And frankly, at this point, I'm not at all surprised we're out of the UCL spots. But then on a positive note, what I want to say is we're only 3 points behind 4th position. So I know I've heard so many people saying, oh, the season's over. We're completely done. There's nothing to play for. That's not true at all. If we were, somewhere down here where we're 6 points or 8 points off of the UCL positions, I'd understand. But we're 3 points off, and Aston Villa have been in worse form than we have, actually, which both is good but also burns, because if we had just kept decent form, we'd be in 4th or even 3rd position right now. But that's not what happened. So what I'm trying to say is we're playing poorly this year. Far too many draws and also far too many losses. But what I'm also saying is there's still a lot to play for. There's still much to play for, and that all starts with this game against Everton, which we're gonna preview that. We're gonna talk about squad news, but we're then gonna also build a lineup together. But first, I just want to clarify a few things. I looked up some stuff today. You guys probably maybe already heard about this, but one, the mole has already been caught, according to Rosignor. He said that they figured out who it was. apparently was non-malicious. Not really sure what was he just sending it out for funsies. I don't know what that means. But anyway, they found apparently it was not somebody of the squad, which that's really what I mainly care about. So it's not Garnacho. Clear the man's name, poor guy. And hopefully that shouldn't be an issue anymore. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically our squad news and the actual team sheet was getting leaked prior to when it should have been. And then the next thing, all of you probably have bought into the story already of Enzo Fernandez being really upset, right, and kind of begrudgingly finishing out the season. But who knows if this is kind of just manager jargon, but nonetheless, Rosignor met with him apparently the next day before training, and he came out of it saying Enzo's fully committed. He loves playing here. He just really wants to win. I don't blame him for that. He's been here for years now, and we've not won much. So anyway, just putting a couple things to bed with those issues. The mole's gone, and I'd say don't worry about Enzo until there's more reason to worry about Enzo. So now let's get into some more of the topic for today, which is talking through team news for the game against Everton. Okay, so I'm on the London Evening Standard here, and there's 3 things I want us to see because there are actually some fairly big pieces of news. Some good, some bad, and some good. That's my teaser for you. So first off, you see right here, it says that Reece James remains out with that hamstring issue, but this I thought was interesting. Though Rosignor has explained it's not serious and will be more closely monitored after the international break. So I remember hearing, it's going to be at least a month, all these different things. Supposedly it could be not quite as bad, and maybe this was falsely reported, and maybe it's almost more of a precaution and a management issue than a total re-injury, which that would be huge, guys, because I'm not gonna lie, my heart just sunk when I saw that. I'm like, finally he's had these months on end of not having an issue and he's back to it. But that's some good news. Rosignor saying it's not serious and will be more closely monitored after the international break. So that's good news for Reece James. And then this is bad news. So Trev, if you saw that tackle by Hakimi, he will be out for around 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain from that game against PSG. So guys, just many things good came out of that game, right? An 8-2 aggregate loss, losing our best center back for the next 6 weeks. A lot of good stuff. But anyway, we'll move on. I feel bad for Trev. I'm glad he didn't break it. Definitely could have, as he said on one of his Instagram posts, if you guys saw that. So, and then next, this is thankfully some good news. Malo Gusto was just sick again. By the way, I feel like obviously it makes sense. Like I was sick this weekend, but it's just interesting. I feel like our team's gotten sick quite a bit this year. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but nonetheless, Malo Gusto missed the PSG with illness, but he did train this Thursday, as in yesterday. So he should return, it says, to the starting lineup. So good news there. So basically Reece James is out, but it could be not as serious as we thought. Trev is out for a while, which that stinks. And then Malo Gusto should be back because he's done with his illness. So good news. Good news there. Now let's hop into a little bit of squad building. We're going to build the squad together. I'm making a little bit of a tweak from what we've been seeing recently. I'm curious to see if you guys agree with a little bit of tactical change that I'm trying out. So let's check it out. Okay, so let's just hop straight into it, right? This is a squad I'm building because we need to be building a strong squad for every game now, right? We're done with Champions League. We're just in 2 competitions now, so every game's got to be the strongest. Robbo in the back. Malo Gusto's back in his right back position, which is good. I'm glad for that. If you did see the back line against PSG, not good enough. But anyway, Malo Gusto's back, and then Wesley Fofana comes back into the side, and Mamadou Sarr next to him, and then Cucurella on the left. First off, 3 out of 4 Frenchmen, so that's kind of fun. 2, I want to clarify, I've been really actually disappointed with Fofana this year. His focus is lacking on the pitch oftentimes. I think that is demonstrated through his behavior when he's a sub. I'm not trying to overreact to that either, but I agree that yes, things can be taken out of context in a 90-minute match showing a guy on a camera, but also you should have a little bit of awareness of the fact that while your team's down by 5 goals on aggregate in a knockout stage, you probably shouldn't be joshing around with your buddies on the bench making jokes. And nonetheless, maybe that's, I don't know, stuck up with me, but that's my opinion. I think he's been lackluster this year, but I still have hope that maybe he can turn things around in his Chelsea career. We'll see. Mamadou Sarr, I'm putting him straight back in. I think we need to not shoot somebody's confidence like him. He made a mistake, right? But it was also a poacher's goal from Kvisha. So not putting him off the hook, but I'm also not saying he's done because of it at all. High skilled player, high ceiling player, put him back in. Mark, back in the left, obviously. Then this is what I'm changing a little bit. Sorry about that. Instead of doing the trio of Moises, Andre, and then Enzo in kind of this weird inside left wing position, I'm dropping Andre, not as much because I think he's been poor, which I don't think so. I love Andre, but because I obviously am not going to drop Moises or Enzo. And this is the primary thing. You might be thinking, you're dropping him because you want Garnacho on the side. What are you doing? I understand. We need a left winger. I think that has been something under the radar. I don't know if you guys agree. This is what I was talking about. Tactically in a change, we've been playing with essentially one winger every game in the last several weeks. It's been Pedro Neto basically every single time, and then Cole Palmer in the middle, and then Enzo doing this weird thing where he sometimes rejoins the midfield, and then he's also kind of in this left pocket position. But of course, he's never going to be attacking down the wing like a winger. He doesn't have the pace for that. He's not built for that. That's not the type of player he is. Marks sometimes help with that, but I think that's hurt us more than we realize playing with one winger, because all of a sudden, okay, let's make sure we lock down this side, and then all we have to deal with is, I love Mark, right? But all we have to deal with on this side is a left back attacking us. I think we've shot ourselves in the foot. So I want to put somebody else creative out there that's going to create problems for fullbacks. So that's why I have Garnacho back in the side. So now talking about the front four, Garnacho on the left, give him a run. Hopefully he takes advantage of a full 90 instead of just being a decent sub. Cole Palmer in the 10, and then Pedro Neto on the right, and Joao Pedro up top. So that's the squad I have for the game. And I made a few changes, right? I'm starting Mamadou because we're going to need to get creative with Trev out for 6 weeks. And please, I don't really think I want to see Tosin again. This is something I was thinking about. I actually think this whole time I would have rather seen Disasi probably make cameos than Tosin, at least this year. I'm not speaking about last year, but this year I think that's the case. But hindsight 2020, I'm aware. So make that difference in the back line. I'm doing the Enzo Caicedo partnership in the middle of the field, and then Garnacho slots in the starting lineup. Some other good news is that Stevao could play this game. I just don't think there's any world where he starts it. You know, he goes from not playing for several weeks to starting a match. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think he'll come on maybe with 30 minutes left, something like that. So anyway, that's the team I have for the game against Everton. So I do think obviously it's a strong lineup. Has it been a lineup that's let us down at times? Absolutely. But it's also been a team that has gone above expectations at other times. And this game against Everton is going to be challenging, right? They're a good team. They're a solid team. They're an 8th this year. They have some decent players. Njai is very good. I don't think Grealish is back yet. What's their striker's name? I'm totally forgetting their young striker's name, not Beto. Kiernan's there, right? They have some decent players, so they're going to put up a good fight. However, and you guys are going to laugh that I'm going to say this after all of my somewhat more downcast video today, but I'm going to say that we changed the script today. I'm going to say we go out there, we compete, and we win this game 2-0. We're going to get a clean sheet with that different back line. Maybe you guys totally disagree. Maybe you think we're going to lose this game. I don't think so. I think we're going to bounce back. We're going to get back into competitive position. Hopefully, Man United lose this game today. Hopefully, Villa lose again, and then maybe we're rolling with something. So anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts are below about the score line, about what you think is going to happen in this game. What do you think about the team in general? What changes do we need to make? I'm going to say this as well. I have a lot of thoughts on some somewhat simple solutions I think that need to happen, and we're going to talk about that more when we get into May. And the season's ending up. We're going to do group grades. We're going to look at positional groups, and we're talking about what needs to happen to make this team a genuine competitor. So anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next week, and enjoy the game tomorrow.